Hello there, Steve here in Sydney from the Laynosis website truebluehealer.com. I just want to carry on about power broking behind the scenes, seemingly done by skeptics. All the evidence of their intervention is there, and in fact TED, the Technology Expose Organisation, bringing out new innovative ideas, blah blah blah. I've already banned Graham Hancock and Rupert Sheldrake from their websites, even though they make presentations on the TED stage. Now, you might say this is an isolated opportunity, isolated situation. It turns out not to be. None other than Deepak Chopra has been given the same treatment. It has been noted that leading public domain skeptics have complete free reign of the stage. We had Richard Dawkins, James Randi, Michael Shermer, and in fact, in a notable case, Richard Dawkins made one of his usual atheistic, materialistic put-downs of religion. I haven't bothered to watch it, I don't need to. His themes are always the same, and he made the materialistic put-down that, you know, we're basically all just animals and we have to put up with that and that sort of stuff. And Deepak Chopra came on straight after and did a resounding rebuttal of what Dawkins had said. All of his materialist claims were put down quite seriously. Deepak Chopra, for doing this, got a standing ovation. Okay? Now, Deepak Chopra's video with finishing with a standing ovation was not allowed. It was taken off the website, while Dawkins was. So as usual, what we've got here is it's not what an organisation professes to do, it's not what an organisation headlines itself as doing, it's not what an organisation mission statements itself to be doing, it's what they actually do on day-to-day daily life practice. And what's happening here is skeptics are allowed free reign of the stage and do or say whatever they think, basically head-kicking everyone they can as usual, like they always do, that everyone's stupid, everyone's deluded, the same old story from all the, and everything is an accident. There's no organisation in the universe anywhere. Deepak Chopra comes along and so well rebuts Richard Dawkins with his hopeless materialist rant that he gets a standing ovation for putting down Dawkins. But Dawkins, his failed video, basically, his failed dissertation gets onto the TED website, but Deepak Chopra's taken off. So doesn't that tell you something about the difference between people who claim to be exposing new and innovative ideas and change and what they actually do in practice? Deepak Chopra, I knew him in the early 1980s. He used to fly into Sydney. He was a TM teacher. Previous to that, he was an endocrinologist working in conventional medicine, and he just got weary of making people healthy by giving them the right blood readings. He said there's more to life than that, there must be, and he decided on an active improvement, starting off with transcendental meditation. He did personally teach me a heart meditation in the early 80s. He's quite a good lecturer, even then he was, and I can only say that I knew Deepak Chopra before he was a superstar. Okay, he's a very kind, loving man, very capable, intellectual, high-flying sort of guy, and I've got nothing but praise for him because I've known him on and off. I haven't read all of his books, I don't need to. He's certainly gone a long way now since he found the right sort of publicist. He's put out more than 20 books, and he's always a good and exciting read, and very educational, and very provocative, pointing things out to you that you wouldn't normally think about. And he's very much into your personal experience, that your personal experience is all you have and all you can ever know, and not to write it down. Don't let the skeptics kick you around and say that your life is meaningless like theirs is. Okay, he's always saying your life is all you have, and your personal experience is all that you can ever have. That's what life is. So he says words to that effect in all of his books, and he's always a good read. I am not surprised that he's been stopped by the skeptical organisation TED, and maybe it's about time we started naming TED for what it really is. CSICOP, CSICOP reincarnated. It probably is. It's got people controlling it, telling its content. A man called Chris something or other. The content of what goes on the stage and what turns up finally on their website as worthy of archiving is distinctly different, and underpins the dishonesty of what they're doing. Dishonesty is a hallmark of skeptics, okay? It's all they can ever do is be dishonest from day one. The reason that Rupert Sheldrake gets up their nose goes right back to James Randi again, and the psychic dog thing, and dogs knowing when their owners are coming home and all that stuff, right back 20, 30 years. The skeptics have never got over the fact that Sheldrake seems to be winning. He's the peer-reviewed scientist, and Randi admitted that he was lying. He admitted he was lying about his counter-claims of counter-evidence and counter-data, proving that dogs aren't psychic, all based on his one own dog. And he lost all the data in a flood, he said. Right back to those times, there's been rivalry going on, as well as a sense of being stared at and telephone telepathy, which is proven in large studies by Rupert Sheldrake. Rupert Sheldrake has grown bolder because he hasn't been rebutted really. He's only been hounded by skeptics who are kind of pretty much useless people. Rupert Sheldrake made about 10 points about mainstream science. How it's not the rock citadel that you think it is, that you've been led to believe by mainstream media, that there's something like 10 or 12 major underpinnings of science which are distinctly shaky. And one of them he makes a bit of humour about. He goes on about the speed of light keeps changing over the decades. Since the 1850s, the speed of light has changed, and he said, so how come we can declare it a constant? How can we be so certain speed of light is constant here, same over there, same up there in the universe, same down here, when it's changing officially down here? How can we seriously say this? And for that reason he went to the standards board in Britain or something, European standards. And he tells this wonderful little humorous story where the CEO of the Standards Committee on Weights and Measures said, well, we standardised the speed of light to stop the controversy, to stop it changing. But we made it a certain figure, sort of like heralded by the king. The speed of light is this, and that it doesn't change anymore because we said so. We are the Standards Association. Sheldrake tells it better than myself, but that's the gist of it, the humorous gist of it. And he says you shouldn't take science so seriously with the religious fervour that the skeptics do. They actually see a version of something called scientism. Okay, skeptics see the world through scientism, which is a sort of pygmy version of science, their own cut down infantile version of science. Graham Hancock demonstrates, talks about consciousness as being a very variable thing from one person to another, which science would not have you believe, would not have you understand. He's very good at presenting alternative points of view. He talks about alternative history and how maybe our simplistic assumptions that we progress from caves to what we are today in a straight line, ascending civilization, is not so true after all. There's actually much archaeological evidence for a previous civilization that's been wiped out. Archaeologists have said this. You'd be surprised how much evidence there is for civilizations that shouldn't have been there. Okay, things we find in geological strata, etc. So Graham Hancock's always a delight to listen to when he talks about ancient sea maps and stuff like that, and how did people know the layout of Antarctica in ancient times, that sort of thing. Wonderfully entertaining. Whether he's right or wrong doesn't matter. He presents some wonderfully fascinating information to you, and power to him for doing so. Which is why he gets taken off TED with Rupert Sheldrake. He's not allowed on the website, even though tokenistically he's allowed to do a presentation on stage in front of a live audience of only a few hundred people. The Huffington Post does amount to mainstream online media. It's quite an influential publication. Deepak Chopra has a full-page spread there, and at the bottom of it, of course, we have more evidence of what TED really is, because there's dozens and dozens and dozens of skeptics jeering at him. Directly beneath his entries, beneath the article, where he describes how his winning video was prevented from being archived on the TED website. It wasn't considered worthy by the skeptical management, or should I say pseudo-skeptical management. So it's a fair thing to say that TED is in fact just skeptic CSICOP reincarnated, and maybe we should start calling it that as soon as possible, and proliferating the idea that TED is just another skeptic stronghold, trying to promote the dead universe, materialistic, everything is random and accidental. Because there's many dozens of them jeering and sneering at Deepak Chopra below the Huffington Post article. See for yourself. That's their follow-up, all part of their battle plan as usual. Well, may they enjoy their dead universe and their dead lives, heaping scorn on other people. There's no brownie points in that at all. Nobody's a winner. What drives these people? I don't know.